All right, you ready to get into this shit?
Yeah, girl.
I've stared at my face a little bit more and it's not as ugly as I thought it was.
You look beautiful. I was gonna say, like, as we've been sitting here, your face got less shadowy and it just sort of evened out into this glow. And I'm like,
Honestly,
and I was gonna tell you.
Just being around you, really.
I get that.
I actually think it's your voice.
Oh,
we should put this in there. This episode's about friendship.
Oh, right. We are recording. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
And I was feeling bad about myself. So Maria was like, just like whispering compliments, because that's what friendship is about. We'll talk about it more in our episode, but that's pretty much what we do for each other.
Whispering sexy compliments.
I
like your astronaut earrings.
Cute. They're so cute, right?
Yeah.
Oh crap, we should do announcements. Patrons, whatever, people giving us money. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate you. We've been trying to give more and more bonuses. So we have a bonus episodes coming out now, coming out soon. Now, I don't know when these come out.
Usually around the beginning of the month.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. So bonus episode, extended interviews, stickers. You can pick our Googles. You can come on for a guest Google. We have tons of benefits and we keep adding them. And you guys have been amazing. So thank you to everybody that gives to our Patreon.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast in audio, however you do that. Please subscribe on YouTube and rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you haven't already, it helps us get seen. It helps us feel good. And you've done a nice, good thing that will probably take just a few seconds of your time, unless you put something really thoughtful in. I'm editing all this. In which case, thank you for that.
Shows. I don't know when this one's coming out.
Follow us on Instagram, and all of our Facebook and Twitter. It's Two Non-Doctors, full word, and then on Instagram it's Two Non-DRS.
Yeah, and then we are doing shows. Hopefully they happen. Everything is weird right now, but I'm in Tampa November 15th. I'm in Connecticut November 21st, and then I'm in Philly, I believe the 27th, November 27th. Whatever after Thanksgiving is, 27th to 29th. Everything's at lizmealy.com. I'm excited because I've been writing. So I think I have, since my special, I think I have at least 25 new minutes that feel pretty polished. And then I probably have more than that in the unpolished stuff, but I don't want to go and inflict that on people. I don't think people realize that if you don't keep doing this, it becomes almost like studying. When I was supposed to do an hour at a drive-in, it got canceled twice upstate. I literally had to put on my special because I needed to find 20 minutes to fill the time. And I was like, okay. And then I'm like watching, I'm like, this is pretty good. Like, I'm pretty funny.
That's really funny. I did the same thing, but I didn't have that self-esteem boost. I was like,
yeah. Well, it helped that I spent money and there's lights and cameras and like.
Your special stuff.
Yeah, it's like, it's one thing to look, because like, I do that too. I'll listen back to like an old set and I'll be like, oh, I thought that went better than it clearly did. But like my special is like, yeah, that's why that's a special. It just felt nice. But like at the same time, I think we're always trying to like kind of progress forward. And I don't know, this year has felt like 7 years combined that like listening to my old stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I talk about death a lot. Like this, I'd never thought about it before, but now with, everything that's going on, it just feels like a little tone deaf. I think I'm always a little tone deaf if I'm being honest, but I don't know. I'm a little scared.
No, I know what you mean. Like I have some jokes about like people in LA and stuff, and now it just I feel bad because I'm like, well, they're on fire.
Exactly.
I'm just making fun of them. They're not like high status anymore. So
yeah.
So you've been cooking lately?
I have been cooking lately. I mean,
I feel like a talk show host like setting you up for a new joke. So I hear you've been cooking lately. How's that been going?
I have. But I like lift a plate. I'm like,
I have a new cookbook, even though I'm a comedian.
Yeah. You're just like, I've had a lot of free time. 7 different ways to make eggs. None of them are delicious. I started doing Blue Apron, not a sponsor, just something.
No, I know this is my issue about talking about this because I want to talk about HelloFresh, but it's like, I want them to pay us.
yeah. But like, maybe they will. Yeah. I had a coupon. I tried it. I don't like cooking. I actually have like a newer joke I'm working on about how I hate cooking and I'm not good at it. And you know that. I had a rule. If I wasn't doing a show, I had to cook dinner. So I like make breakfast. I put something together for lunch. It's usually like leftovers, but I had to cook. So that came out to be like twice a week. It wasn't even that often because I was always traveling and doing shows. So maybe once or twice a week I had to cook. I was always proud of myself when I did. And there was this paleo cookbook I really liked, and it made big portions. So I would have leftovers for a couple of days. So it actually, like, everything about it was like smart. Eventually I only made the same 4 recipes over and over again. And I just don't really enjoy doing it. I don't really take risks. I don't really do new stuff. And then even like going out to eat, I'm just getting the same Thai and tacos over the time. So like a part of me is like, I need to get like a variety of vegetables in my diet, because I'm just eating like the same, I'm like, is that a little piece of kale? Got my vegetable intake this week. So it just kind of was one of those things where like I'm making myself cook. I know I feel better when it's like a meal that I kind of like, I see what's in it. I'm getting a diverse group of foods. And then what I started doing is my roommate, John, I was just like, hey, do you want to like cook together? And then we can just like split the cost of it. So we've been doing that for like a month, and it's been awesome. Like, honestly, I really, I like eating meat. I hate touching it. I think it's weird. Talk about like gender roles. I'm like, you're the meat person. So he does, like, he just knows it. Like, I love chopping garlic because I have this little contraption that looks like a toy where you put the garlic in and then you roll it and it minces it. And he's like, you got garlic, I'll do the chicken. And I was like, yes, I love our gender roles. So I'm just like a car rolling our garlic. At first it was really stressing me out, and I was trying to figure out why. And really, like, my brother pointed it out that like it's reading and math. Like, it's all about like measurements and reading, and it's under a time constraint because you're like, because it's always like I'm reading it and it's like you're supposed to be stirring constantly. I was like, oh, I didn't stir at all. I was never stirring. I was like, oh, yeah. So I'm starting to like read ahead. I'm starting to like prep before I cook. It still stresses me out. And I also have done a couple of recipes by myself. And I'm like, Chris, my roommate Chris, will try to talk to me. And I'm like, I'm cooking. Like, shut up. Like, I have to, like, when I would cook with Justin, like, he would put on music or like a show. And I was like, no sound. Like, I need,
Really?
maybe
Wow.
you could put on music, but I can't, like, you can't talk to me and there'd be a TV show in the background. I can't do it. I don't know if that is ADD. I don't know.
I
So
can't do it when somebody like, it'll be like the TV and then somebody's cell phone sound, like they're watching something on their cell phone while the TV's on, or somebody will have a radio. When I lived with the old woman, it would be like a radio and a TV, and it's just like, just one noise, please. One.
Yeah, just pick one.
But yeah.
So I think it stresses me out. It's overwhelming. I'm not good at it. I'm still learning. So none of this stuff is innate, but we're getting better. I think there's only been like 2 meals I haven't liked, and that's just because I genuinely didn't like the vegetables. But I've been trying new stuff. You'd be really proud of me. I've been trying a lot of new stuff.
That's good. So that's what I found with HelloFresh. I meant that was good. Didn't sound like it at all.
That's good. Okay.
It is good. Look, I've been doing HelloFresh. I think we were coming from different cooking backgrounds, because you're coming from not cooking at all or prepared like takeout.
From like, I grew up on microwavable meals and takeout.
Yeah, I mean, so did I. But like, but also like home cooked meal. But like Rachel Ray taught me how to cook. I started watching that on the Food Network, and she made it so simple that like it gave me the confidence, and then the more confidence I had, the more I was able to do it. So anyway, what I like about like these sort of food delivery places is that there's less waste because they give you exactly what you need. And I won't find myself in the grocery store being like, geez, what do I want? And then like buy a bunch of things if I'm too hungry and then end up throwing it all out, which is good because I split my time between here and Johnny's a lot. So like I end up throwing out a lot of stuff I didn't mean to throw out. So that's all great. What I don't like about it is that I don't feel very creative because they give you the spice packets. Yeah. And I feel like that's where your sort of your own signature comes into a dish. It's like putting your own amount of a certain spice, or, you know, you might put nutmeg in a sauce and that have that little like hint of something. Or that's like, to me, that's like, I hate that. You're talking about creativity and I'm like, no. But I don't think you would hate that if you had more, like, I feel like this stuff is going to give you the confidence that eventually you're just going to do it on your own. Because I hope so. When I've seen you follow recipes, you can cook really well. So like, almost like what you said before, which is like, it's a spice you would never buy before. It's like this Caribbean spice that you can only get, and it's this big, and it's for one recipe, and you're never going to use it again. And you're like, am I really going to spend $5 and have this thing take up space? Yeah. What I've learned from you, so like a good example is like paprika can kind of be like a pepper replacement. Like, let's say you ran out of pepper, you could kind of use paprika. Is it the same? No. Like, you start to kind of understand what food groups and where you would use certain spices so that you can get creative. But you are so much further ahead of me in that aspect that I'm still like a robot where they're just like, put this packet in. And I'm like, okay. And they're just like, stir. Okay. Stop stirring. Yeah, okay. But that's exactly how you learn. Like, if you were learning piano, it would be the same thing. It would be like hit these notes, follow these keys. I've tried to learn piano like once. So I'm like, notes and keys. But you do that and you go, okay, that's the chord. Okay. Well, what's the next chord? Okay. We'll put your hands here. And then eventually you learn all that and then you're flying. Then you're like making up your own shit, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point, that in the beginning you follow the rules so you can break the rules.
Right.
You gotta learn the rules
Do you
first.
know that like housewives, do you know how like you have cake mix, instant cake mix? Basically you add water, oil, and what is it? Like
I'm familiar
and
with cake.
eggs. We all are.
Almost how I grew up. I'm like making cake for everybody.
Back in the 50s, they designed it so that all you actually needed was water. But because housewives felt that they didn't do anything and they were getting complimented on cakes, but they didn't really feel like they had anything to do with it because all they did was add water, they didn't like it. So they made it so that you had to add oil and eggs as well. And it gave them more of a ownership
sense of
of
baking.
it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny. So my brother Sam has been cooking on his own and cooking up a storm. Keep in mind, he's only been doing it for a couple of months, but he came over and we made one of the Blue Apron recipes. And I was like, oh, do you like it? He's like, I really like the recipe, but he's just like, it just kind of feels like cheating. And he was like kind of talking down to me. I was like, motherfucker, you've been cooking for 3 months. like take it down a notch before you start judging my, Lego version of cooking.
That's how quickly you catch on. I feel the same. I feel like I'm cheating. I'm just like, I make some really good meals, but I don't want to show them off on Instagram because I didn't do anything. They gave me everything and put it together.
Yeah. It's been like a bonding experience with me and John. It's been like really nice because like he gets home from work at 6 and I'm just like, are we cooking? And I'm always hungry because I often don't really eat lunch. I eat like a late breakfast and then I don't really have maybe like a snack and then I wait for dinner at 6. Almost every single comedian I've talked to has said their favorite part of the pandemic is that they're home for dinner. It's really funny. I don't think I even cared about, I almost ate every single meal out because of stand-up. Maybe I might eat a snack beforehand. I was either getting home super late and eating at like midnight, or I would meet up with a friend and I would eat at like the Cellar or something. And I find it really nice to be home for dinner. We like clean the kitchen. We like split up chores. Like our place is cleaner than it's ever been. I'm eating better than I ever have. Chris does work in the kitchen. So he's playing like weird, I don't know, music. He's our DJ. And then me and John make dinner and then we all kind of eat dinner together. And it's just like, my little family.
That's really sweet. It really is sweet. So I hate to ruin it with this, but like it's so funny how you're like now that I'm home, the place is cleaner than it's ever been. But they don't do comedy. They've been home the whole time.
They've been home the whole time.
It just says that you're nagging them about cleaning. It's cleaner than it's ever been.
My dad used to give like lessons on how to sweep properly and how to mop properly, and it was just insane. And I can see some of that insanity now. Like we have a dishwasher, and I've looked at John and I was like, who raised you? Like there's little rows. Just put the cups in the rows, but there's like, it's like this weird like jigsaw puzzle that he refuses to believe is a picture. And he's just putting stuff in different places. And it makes me insane. And so I'm always undoing his crap and like even the mopping. We both agree that we like it. I love your face right now. You're like,
because what is it about dishwashers? Like it does the job for you. It makes your life easier. Yet it causes so much stress to so many people.
So much stress.
Like today I had a bigger plate and somebody put the tiny like saucer at the one beneath. And I was like, why would you put such a small thing where all the big things go?
Yeah.
So now I got to move the small thing and I got to put the big thing. The truth is the whole thing took 2 seconds. So why has it bothered me so much?
Because I think honestly, we're two really logical people. And like, I don't always feel like the smartest person in the room, but I do feel like I don't know, problem solving is where I feel my intelligence is, and like doing things in a make sense manner. I don't know how to say that more intelligent, but like when I see somebody do something where I'm like, in what way does that feel smart to you? In what way does that make sense? Like that's where I get enraged, because if we both do something and we're like, oh, I thought that would be best, but it didn't work out, and then we fix it, that makes sense. But when you continue to do something that doesn't make sense over and over again, I feel insane. So there's a little note above our trash can that says, hey, John, maybe ask yourself, should I be recycled? Love the earth. Like it was like, because he was putting like his beer cans and his soda cans in the trash. I'm like, that is the one thing everyone knows is recycling.
Yeah, it's so easy to just put it in the recycle. But you're also like, a nightmare for that letter.
Yeah. Oh, I am. But
I've seen it.
Yeah. No. And you know what? I'll say this about John. He tolerates me really well. He's lived with 3 out of 5 mealies. So he almost chose this life. Okay, we should get into fan mail. We've
Yeah.
bonded too much. Jesus Christ.
All right. So yeah, we did a life hacks episode. Some people reached out to us with some really pretty good life hacks. So this is from the Whisper Texan. It says, "Hey Liz, here's a cat life hack. If you feed a cat outside, ants in the food are a problem. So put the food bowl in a large pie tin and then fill it about an inch of water, and you made it an anti-ant moat."
I love that one.
Yeah.
I mean, my cat's an indoor cat, but I've had outdoor cats, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then a part of me was like, aren't ants protein? You know, they like bugs. I'm sure there's some cats that are truly like, there's ants in my food.
I would love to see that.
Just like some this prissy cat that's just like, Mom, they're touching my food. Or maybe they're just getting distracted and they're not eating their food because they're just like, there's so many options. But no, I really liked that one. I was just like, oh, that's so nice. So I hope that helps somebody.
Another one is from Mark. He says, "Y'all are awesome."
Wow.
Thank you. Thanks for entertaining us. For the stain, try toothpaste, because I had a stain on my shirt I couldn't get out. And I had a coat I couldn't wear due to probably coffee or something similar, and then read some more about the toothpaste thing. It worked, and I was unbelievably happy afterwards. That's great news, because I love this shirt, and I cannot get the stain out. So I'm going to try the toothpaste thing for the next load of laundry I do.
Yeah, my only concern is, I wonder, is it a certain type of toothpaste? Because I worry if it's like you know how like one's like white in your teeth, and this isn't a white shirt?
It is a white shirt.
Oh.
Well, it's a white shirt with black polka dots. So I guess like the risk is that some of the polka dots would fade.
Yeah, or get like bleached out or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, I can't wear it anyway. Might as well try.
Yeah, that's actually a very valid point. Like it's already defunct and dead. So why not? Where's the stain on the shirt?
It's like right. Hi everyone. It's like right on my boob. Like it's just like right, like that's prominent. Do you know how like you could wear a jacket over most stains? Like
yeah.
I tried to do the jacket thing and it's just like right outside the jacket lines. I mean, it's there. And
I've done that. I've had it where like
I've tried to play it down. Like, nah, it's not that big. No, it is. And it is that dark.
I've had it where like it's right under the boob and you can never see it. So it's like it's at the perfect hiding spot. I forgot afterwards and I was really mad at myself. My favorite life hack that actually saved me money. I bought this dress at Zara. It was like on sale. It was like this $100 dress that was on sale for $10. And you know how like your mind gets a little blown? You're like, what am I missing? And so there was a pen stain legit like on the boob. And I was like, it's too good of a deal. So I'm on my phone and I'm literally Googling, how do you get pen out? And they go, if it hasn't been washed, you can hairspray it, dab it with the hairspray, wash it regular, but make sure the pen's completely out before you dry it. Because once you dry pen, it sets it. So I was like, I'm taking the risk. It's $10 and this dress is bananas. Still have the dress. And so I went home. I did the blotchy thing. It came out, washed it, and I was like, big dick energy for like a year.
That's such a Liz Mealy story. I saw a discounted dress. It was a beautiful dress. Cost next to nothing. There was a problem. I solved it. Like you're like you're a superhero in that dress.
No, I mean, at this point, the same way, like, you know, that cliche thing about women where they'll be like, oh, I like your earrings. And you're like, $3. I found them on the streets. It was free, but I decided to give an old woman $3 because that's the right thing. Like this kind of like, you have to say what the discount is or how little you paid. Every time someone was just like, I like that dress. I was like, there was a pen stain on my boob, but I solved it because I'm a genius. We love this stuff. We'll have to do another episode like that. I was surprised how many people liked it. I was like, this is one of our weirder ones. It's not it's like science, but not really.
People love life hacks.
You want to get into Googles?
Googles. I mean, yes.
You're weird today.
Oh, I was about to be like, oh, honey, you don't even know.
Girl, I'm only half showing some of my crazy. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, I Googled, is my pillow hurting my neck?
I was curious. I was having the same page. I'm completely on the same
really?
page. Yeah.
Because like, okay, so Johnny's pillows are like practically flat. It's like he almost doesn't have pillows, but they're great. They work for me and I can bend them in half if I need them to be a little bit higher, but mostly it's flat and it's fine. My pillows, when I sleep in my room, they're so thick. I don't like them. I need a beat up pillow. Like I need a beat up old, like I have a pillow that I brought with me that I mean, it's probably disgusting, but I've had it for over a decade. Like I love it. It's bendy, it's accommodating. And like these other pillows, this new generation of pillows, right? Like they're just too fucking fluffy, like they can't handle anything. Like it's actually,
Snowflakes. They're filled with snowflakes.
because I woke up the other day and like the middle of my back, upper spine was like, it wasn't like so in pain I wasn't functioning, but it was, it felt really sore. And I just feel like I only get neck aches when I sleep at my place.
That's so weird. I have a Tempur-Pedic pillow. Tempur-Pedic, it starts to get like meat. Think of it like meat, and it just starts to get like crumbly. It's like weird. Like after like 10 years. A regular pillow loses feathers and gets flat. But these Tempur-Pedic pillows, they get like minced meaty. It's really, I still have it, by the way. I don't have guests, but it's on the guest side. So I bought another one, different brand, and I thought I liked it, but same thing. My neck, only lately, I've had this pillow for years, but only lately has my neck every morning started to hurt. I literally have had the same thought in the last couple of weeks because my neck has hurt so many times waking up in the morning, and I've done nothing during the day.
How high is your pillow? Because the answer says it's based on the body's measurements and personal preference. The pillow should maintain a height of 4 to 6 inches. And I think that's too much. Like if you're lying on your side and your head's like up 4 to 6 inches, it feels like we both tried to.
Yeah, I'm like looking at my pillow. I'm doing real analysis right now, staring at my pillow. I mean, that is kind of where it is. And then of course there's give. I feel like such a moron. Like there's give.
I don't know. It's not comfortable. I don't know what to say about it. I just like beat up old ass flat pillows.
I didn't sleep with a pillow like the first 10, 15 years of my life. I was an anti-pillower. Yeah, I was an anti-pillower. I literally slept like a cat. It is a thing. There was an anti-pillow movement. I actually was thinking maybe I should go back to not using a pillow.
I mean, I'm going to give you 5 signs that you need a new pillow, even though the older the better for me. It smells funny. That's fair enough. It's a pain in the neck. So it's like, how do you feel? So I really do think I need to get rid of those pillows. It has lumps. When you lay your pillow flat, is it lumpy or does it have bumps in it? Like Johnny's pillows do. But again, I think I like those better. Like, maybe it's a caveman thing? Like I would sleep on hay if they let me. It folds in half and stays folded. I want that. That's when they're saying to replace it. I want that shit. I like feather pillows too. It's past its prime. Well, that's not a helpful 5th for the list.
Yeah. All right, dude. Just say it's 4.
I know.
When people like fill up their list so it's a number that seems reasonable. And then I'm now trying to think my old life when I was sleeping in hotels every weekend if my neck felt better. But also I'm on planes sleeping like a crazy person.
Ex used to bring pillows to hotels because he hated hotel pillows.
I can see that.
I don't mind hotel pillows if they have actual feather pillows.
Oh man. We've become
such a diva.
I know, we've become such divas.
What are your robes like? Are you terracotta cloth robes? Are they thick or are they thin? You don't have robes? I'm sorry, I can't stay with you. Call the club. What's your Google?
My Google, I feel like you would respect it, is raw cut onions that are stored overnight poisonous.
Why would they be?
So it's just something I heard years ago that you shouldn't have onions that have been, like if you cut an onion in half and only use half the onion, you shouldn't ever use that other half of the onion because it's poisonous. And what's weird about it is, like we just talked about earlier, I wasn't really cooking. This is like, when you're given information and you're like, what am I ever going to do with that? Literally, like, I hope that falls out of my head because it's so useless. And I forgot how much I really like putting like cooked onions in my eggs. So I would cook the onions, make them all soft and, they get sweet. And then I would put the rest of the stuff in. And I'm such a tiny person that I don't do a full, these are even small onions. I don't do a full onion. It's a half an onion. And I just, that information came flooding back to me this week. I literally was like, am I murdering myself? I was like, oh no. So I'm literally cooking a half of an onion that's been stored in the fridge, and I'm Googling it being like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. So it's a fucking myth. It's this grandma fucking myth that got spread all over the internet. It's like, they think it's from like 1919 after the big like influenza pandemic. The myth is that there's something about onions that make them absorb bacteria more than other produce or whatever. And it's the reason we have stomach bugs. It was like this whole thing that the reason you get sick is because of cut onions overnight. And everybody is like, go fuck yourself. Like they're literally saying that, like, it's just not true. Like the chemical makeup of onions doesn't support bacteria. Like they have low protein content, a low pH, meaning that it's just not an ideal breeding ground for like germs, viruses, and other pathogens. Yes, there's safety precautions with produce, hence like E. coli and stuff like that, but it's no different than any other fruit or vegetable. It's just regular. It's just kind of funny that like some grandma said something, then somebody that now has internet said what their grandma said, and then people went nuts. I think I read this like 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't think anything about it until this week.
That's so funny. Like you learn something when you're a child or in high school, and then it comes up later and you're like, oh, well, you can't, like, well, Santa lives on the moon. So, and they're like, what? Sorry, what? And you're going, Oh, I don't know why I believe that. It's just something I've accepted as a young person.
Some crazy adult that had authority over me when I was 9 told me something, and I never counterbalanced it. You learn stuff, but if it has no validity in your current life, why would you even think twice about it? But then you don't realize that it comes back up. Think of all like the sex ed stuff. There's beliefs that you can't get pregnant the first time you have sex. Why? Why would that be a belief? But then there's people that because they heard that when they were younger, when they start having sex, they're like, well, you can't get pregnant the first time. And then there you are having a baby after you had sex for the first time. There's all these weird myths and misinformation that you don't realize at the time, whether it's because you're young or it's because at this point in your life, this person has some kind of an authority figure, or the fact that it just doesn't feel like pertinent information in your life. But then when it does come in, all of a sudden, you are having sex or you are cooking, and then you're like, wait a second, I think I'm in danger. like I really was. I was like cooking and I was like, oh, this is how that was like an emergency Google. I was about to put the eggs in and I was like, no. Oh, I'm excited about our Let's Get Personal.
Oh, right. Okay. What is it?
So this is a question Chris asked me, my roommate Chris. And I was like, what? I was like, this is such a good podcast question. And I was like, I'm stealing it. Do your parents view you as an equal?
I mean, this is what like half my jokes are about. I've been infantilized for all the years of my life. So part of me thinks that I haven't allowed them to grow up. And so that I think that they think that I'm a child, and maybe they don't see me that way anymore and do see me as an equal. But
what do you mean you haven't let them grow up?
I think of them how I thought of them when I was 13 or 15 or 22. Or, like these oppressors in my life who don't want to let me just run all over the country and do stand-up comedy and do what I want and want me to get married and be an architect and, but I never really updated them in my head. So I might think that they view me as a child, and they probably still do. Like my dad calls me every day at 1 p.m. still, like to make sure I'm alive because he still feels protective over me, even though I'm very nearly an adult. Like, like when I wrote the New York Times article about my relationship and they were like, we're going to publish it. I was like, oh my God, because then I realized my parents were going to read it. But they were really supportive. Like when I broke up with my fiance, I was afraid they were going to be upset with me, but they were really supportive and they were really like, they wanted me to be happy, not force me into something I didn't want to do, like they weren't going to give me shit. If I wasn't happy, I wasn't happy.
I think, and I don't know your parents well, other than, a few phone calls and my interpretation, I think your parents are probably incredibly impressed by you, but I think because of how they grew up, they're also extremely scared for you. So I think it's a mixture of you over and over and over again prove that you're not dying while you're traveling and doing all these things, but they don't know how to update their fears. And I know from how your parents grew up that I think they would update you 100% as an equal if you got married, because then they wouldn't have to be the sole worriers. Like he has to worry about you now, which is funny because a part of me thinks like, I've been worrying about you for 15 years. I almost want to sit your dad down and be like, I got this. Like, you don't, like, I know you want it to be a man, but I want to be like, Mr. Shahada, trust me, I got this. But I do think they have this kind of old-timey perspective that they can't stop worrying about you until you're someone else's problem.
Right, which is exactly, because I have that joke in my act about like, when are you going to finally meet somebody so you could be somebody else's problem? But and just trying to come to terms with like being an adult while still being infantilized by my parents, not being treated like an adult. I think they think, well, it's just be an adult, like earn real money and stop fucking around. And I'm like, this problem is like comedy's my passion. So it's not that I'm not an adult. It's just that I'm not earning as much as like, say, if I was an engineer.
Yeah.
So that combined with not being married, and I'm just like this perpetual teenager.
Yeah. Our lifestyle, I mean, my room decorating, even more so right now with us barely working, I feel like a teenager. I do think my parents see me as an equal. I think it's because I've talked back for so long. The problem
is your parents have seen you as an equal since you were 9.
So. Yes, that was going to be my response. That's so fucking valid. Yeah, I've been co-parenting since I was 9. They put so much pressure and so much responsibility, like adult responsibility on me so young. People thought my mom either left or wasn't alive because I picked my brothers up from everything. I think comedy also kind of sticks you in that you don't grow up phase in your parents' mind because they think it's a non-choice. There is something about, unless you become an NFL player, unless you become Jerry Seinfeld, unless you become, you're in like some symphony that everybody knows about, like unless you're the biggest version of an artist or an athlete, you're not the highest paid or the big notable person in this risky field, you don't ever let your parents feel like their job is done. And so there's this always worry. My mom's not that kind of, my mom's kind of like, good luck to you. Like, good luck. Not to say that she doesn't worry about us. Whatever the opposite of a helicopter parent is, I don't want to say neglectful, but that's just not my mom. My dad, on the other hand, up until I would say about 4 years ago, was always trying to get me to do some weird side project or some side job. You know how like they're always trying to sell you online? They're like, work from home and make $2,000, but they don't ever tell you what it is. And you're just like, what is this going to magically make $2,000 in a week working from home thing? Like there's always these little scams that they're always trying to sell you. My dad was kind of doing that with different projects. He's like, oh, I found if you could do real estate. I'm like, Dad, I'm not doing real estate. Oh, if you do this website thing, have you thought about coding? Would you want to be a doctor? Like my dad was always trying to tell me something wasn't going to take up much time and I could make a lot of money. It was about him not having to worry about me. And so as I became more financially stable in the last couple of years, I think he still worries, but I've also been like, no. Like my dad offered twice because my car insurance, I have non-car car insurance because I fucked up my car insurance so bad from all my accidents that I went from having, my car insurance was $127 and it was up to $427 because I had so many tickets and accidents and stuff. And so I then was like, can I go on your insurance? But I was such a fucking mess that I was going to blow up their insurance. So I couldn't go on their insurance. So I had to give my car away. I gave my car to my parents and then I had to get non-ownership car insurance. And then I borrowed my parents' car.
Oh, okay. So that just means you can drive other cars.
Yes, but I pay for my own insurance. So without owning a car, my car insurance is like $130 or something like that. So I've been doing that for years, but it's, you know, right now that's like a lot of money for me. And so I was telling my dad, I was like, oh, they're giving little discounts for not driving, but it's kind of like pennies. Like they've been taking $10 off. So now my car insurance, and it was only for like 2 months during like the worst of the pandemic, $20. They gave me back $20. And it just kind of made me sad because if they actually had given it back all year, it would have added up a little bit. But I was just telling it to my dad. He's like, oh, I could help you. And I go, Dad, I don't need your help. Like it sucks that the little bit of money I was having and the savings I was having is being depleted for something that isn't even being used, but I'm just talking to you. So like my dad's always just like, what do you need? And I'm just like, I don't need anything. Like that's very kind and I appreciate it, but like I don't need you to rescue me. And I think because I never liked when he had to financially rescue me. But I think as I've become assertive of this isn't your position anymore, I think it's really in my dad's mind created me as an equal, where we have phone conversations and it's not because I need him to solve a problem. It's not because things aren't going well. I mean, they're never going well, but like I'm calling to catch up with him, as opposed to when I was a teenager or post-college, I was always a victim of something. I was always upset about something, whether it was financial or not. I was always like, ugh. Like I remember when I became like homeless after my breakup with my ex, we were living together and I had nowhere to go. And then nobody would like, either I couldn't find a place that would take cats or people were allergic to cats. It was like all these issues and I couldn't afford to live by myself. And I was like, I'm not giving up my cat. I'm so sad right now. It was just such a conundrum and it was months, it was going on months and I was staying with my sister. I stayed with you. Like I was all over the place. And then my dad was just like, maybe we could help you buy a place. And first of all, my dad didn't even understand how impossible. Like my dad looked it up and he goes, is Bed-Stuy? And this is like 15 years ago. He's like, is Bed-Stuy a nice place? I was like, no, Dad. He's like, oh yeah, we barely could afford Bed-Stuy. I was like, yeah, no, we can't afford.
If it's in a Jay-Z song, it's not.
Yeah. So he was just trying to solve these problems for me. And it's just like, I don't need you to solve my problems. And so I think the more I kind of reinforce that, I think the more our phone conversations and how we interact with each other, boundaries, sticking up for myself, but then also just not letting my dad rescue me. Even if that's something that he wanted to do or he'd be happy to do, that doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to be rescued. I want to figure it out myself. And so I think in some ways that's helped us become more on the same page. So I think my mom said something maybe like 8 months ago that was just like how much she just like respected that I did stand up and like loved that I did it, both because she likes humor, but also that like I wanted to do it and I did it. And I was like, my mom respects me. It just felt nice. And I mean, I feel the same way about my mom. She wanted to be a veterinarian. It wasn't a regular path, especially in the 70s. and she fucking did it. Like, I think that's what I really respect about my parents, and I think they kind of see that backwards.
Definitely.
I'm super excited for our new sponsors, Magic Spoon cereal. I'm a sugar addict. I mean, we just did an episode where I talked about sprinkles for 45 minutes. There's some stuff that I've given up, and even when I go back off my diet, I'm just like, I'm never going to be that person again. I'm never going to start my day with a sugary cereal. I crash within an hour. It doesn't make me feel good. There's something about Magic Spoon that makes me feel like I can live my youth again.
Yeah, seriously, like Saturday morning cartoons and sugary cereal. It's like,
Yeah.
So right now I only just watch the Saturday morning cartoons. It's keto friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low carb, and GMO-free. It has 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net carbs per serving. There are 4 flavors. There's cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. Blueberry, it takes me back to blueberry flavored cereal, and I just haven't had it in so long. I love it.
We're reliving our youth through Magic Spoon. If you also want to relive your youth, but in a healthy way, go to magicspoon.com/2nondoctors. So that's /2nondrs. You get free shipping, and you will get a variety pack. So you get to try all of them, figure out what your favorite flavor is. They have a 100% guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money. It's a win-win situation.
Thank you, Magic Spoon.
Thanks, Magic Spoon. We're always excited about Real sponsoring us. It is made from sustainable bamboo. It just makes me feel like I'm a good person. I'm always excited when I get any kind of package, but there's something about getting a crap ton of toilet paper. Oh, I don't even think I intended that pun. I like that I don't have to think about it, that it just comes exactly when I need it.
Me and my flatmates fight each other when the door like rings. We're just like, get out of the way. Like, I think she's doing it because the delivery guy, she says, is hot.
Sometimes I forget what it is, but I mean, when it's a huge box, I'm like, I know that's my toilet paper and paper towels. Like,
is the delivery guy like, is this toilet paper for you, little girl?
Yeah. And I'm the only one that answers the door. I have 2 roommates that the buzzer will go off. They never get up. So I just look like this girl that gets too many packages and has alias names. And then also what I love about them is a portion of the proceeds help give access to clean toilets to people around the world.
If you go to realpaper.com, that's REELPAPER.com, and put in the promo code 2nondrs25, you get 25% off your first subscription order or your first order at Real. And they deliver for free in the US.
Get a fun package, unbox something, be a good person.
Back to the show.
Yeah. Okay, you want to get into our topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm excited about this one. Our topic is friendship, which is pretty much our whole podcast. I don't know. I have like a lot of big ideas about, you know me. I mean, you know how much importance I put on friendship, but a lot of my reframing of how I feel about friendship came from a book. I don't know if you ever read the book Grouped.
No.
It's a social media book. That's what's crazy about it. It's a very thin social media book called Grouped. And it was when I was getting really into social media and trying to figure things out. And what I really liked about it and how it really helped me feel better about my friendships and understand my friendships is it basically said everybody's tribe is about 150 people. They've done all these studies. You really can't remember people, connect with people past 150. So tribes used to break off at 150. But you would probably, we would both struggle to name 150 people that we feel that are a part of our tribe. So what they do is they break it down that you have about 5 close friends. And that can be, that could be my sister. It could be my mom. It could be you. It's these 5 people that are like your rocks. You talk to them most days. If something went down, you can rely on them. You've borrowed money from them. They've picked you up from the hospital. These are your ride or die people. And then it kind of spans out a little more to like another kind of 10 people. And these are people you talk to probably every week. You're really friends with, you see them often. They would visit you in the hospital. Everything's around the hospital. Don't ask why. And then it kind of branches out more. And so now you have about like another like kind of 25 people. These are people maybe you work with that you enjoy seeing. You might go for a drink after work. They're your fun friends. You have some kind of contact with them within a month or so. And then it starts branching out more to like who would come to your funeral? Like who are the 50 people that would be sad if you died? And it just keeps branching out and branching out. And the other thing they divided it into is like the close friends. Then there's the fun friends. There's the keep in touch friends. And I realized I was trying to make everybody my core group. And it was causing me so much pain. I was putting too much pressure on so many people in my life to be this number one person. I couldn't even be their number one person, but I expected so many people in my life to always be there for me exactly the way I needed them to be there for me. And when I started to kind of realize I was doing that and divide people up into like their natural selection, and don't get me wrong, people can change. You can have a fun friend that becomes a core friend. You can have a core friend that becomes an acquaintance. People shift, and you have to also respect that shifting because priorities change and life changes and people change. But when I started to note, like, this is a fun friend that I'm trying to make a best friend, and they keep disappointing me because they're not a best friend. And once I let them just be a fun friend, hey, we go get a drink, we'll get dinner once a month, you know, I send them memes, whatever it is that made them my fun friend, I let them just be that, and it just relaxed everything. It relaxed it for them, it relaxed it for me. And it's a book that kind of changed how I felt about myself and how I felt about my friends.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. And I think because like you do talk about like Prakash is one of your closest friends, and
But he was a fun friend forever.
well, I know, and like you've been friends with him for a long time. But like you say, like Prakash isn't the person you go to if you're heartbroken or if you're having a really like tough emotional time.
Yeah.
Like he'll be there for you. He'll make fun of you before he like gives you a comforting hug, is what I imagine. He's like, and it's not coming from an evil place. He's just not the guy to go to for certain kinds of support.
He knows I'm sad right now. He's not checking in. That's just not him. He's not capable of doing that. And if he is, he's only capable of doing that for maybe one person, maybe his girlfriend or someone, or his mom when his mom was sick. He's like a bestie fun friend combined. Like realizing what people were capable of and stop punishing them for things that are outside their abilities is honestly been life-changing, because I was hurting other people with my expectations, and I was also hurting myself with those expectations. And then also I was getting mad at myself for not, and people pleasing in a way where I was destroying my own happiness because I felt like I was like helping everybody move, whether I went to the gym with you or we went to high school together. Like I was insane. I mean, Prakash is a great example. I would do anything for him, and I think he would do anything for me except for express his emotions. And so I don't inflict him with my emotions anymore. Don't get me wrong. I've occasionally cried in front of him and he was like, oh God.
No, but he'll give you a doorstop for when you're on the road and you're scared of people breaking
He
in.
thinks about me. He cares about me. He cares about my well-being. To stop putting these unreasonable expectations on people and myself has changed how close I am with people. It's made me closer with the people I'm closer with. I definitely think it made me closer with Prakash. It's also made me let go of people that we weren't serving either of each other. And we've talked about from a Let's Get Personal in a previous episode, this ability to realize that someone is either toxic or causes you pain. I mean, even just like muting people on Instagram. Hey, I like you. I like when I run into you. I'm happy for your success, but there's something about you that's a little toxic to my brain that I just can't see you on social media. And having those boundaries, like there's definitely comedians, I'm like, I see them, we talk before a spot. I'm excited when they're on a show. I think they're really funny. I'm happy for their success. They got married, good for them. But something about social media, I can't be that level of friendship with them. It's too much.
If I feel put upon too much, am I just, because I can be kind of up my own ass and selfish and not realize I'm not thinking of other people until they go, hey, dickhead, I've had issues too. Where have you been? And I'm like, sorry, I've just been up my own ass.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, you have certain friends who are constantly in need. And then you go, am I being selfish by putting a boundary? Like, I can't offer you as much as you need. And this is asking too much of me now. How much is it me being a dick? You know?
Yeah, no, I think that's that line wavers so much. And I'm also, as somebody that is like a people pleaser that's just started to put on boundaries the last couple of years and still struggle with it, I think those boundaries are really hard. And I think people that have your best interest understand them, and they're going to be different for different people. At the end of the day, how many times have I helped you move? How many times has the Mealies helped you move?
The Mealy Moving Company has helped me move. Over 11 times.
I will always help. I want to be there for you. I want to make your life easier. We all understand that moving is the worst thing to happen to all of us, even when the move is a better move. Even when you're going from squalor to a mansion, it's still the worst thing to happen to you. Moving is such a friendship hierarchy. To help somebody move is to basically say, you're important to me. You're my maid of honor. You're the maid of honor of my life. So to bring somebody into your worst day, to be there with you, to basically make it easier, but also just be there for all the fucking fires that a moving causes, is a big deal. When I've actually asked people to help me move that I shouldn't have asked, and I now can see that. And then I've had people ask me to move and been like, bitch, when's the last time you bought me a Christmas gift? like, that's why I think that category of friendships, of, like I said, the close friends, the fun friends, and being able to understand the boundaries in each one is a great way to understand when somebody is putting too much pressure on you, when somebody's being toxic, and when you need to step up your game. Because the boundaries I have for my close friends are very different than for my fun friends, which are very different from my acquaintances that are different from people I work with. I've had to gauge differently for each one, and it's still a trial and error process. But some of it is relying on my expectations. As a best friend, this is what I expect from you, and I expect the same thing. And I'm going to give the same thing back. And I think that's a good gauge, is if you expected somebody to do this thing for you, then you're being selfish by not doing it back.
Do you ever find that you end up in a friendship that you didn't quite pursue, and then they end up expecting shit from you, and then you're just like, I don't remember asking.
I didn't
for
sign
this.
up for this.
You're literally a lot of capacity.
You're like literally looking at your credit card bill and you're like, $20 every month. Did I
don't think I authorized that.
Yeah, 100%. I have 100% been in those relationships. I also think I've put those on people. I have really looked at my past and struggle sometimes and am embarrassed sometimes to realize how much pressure I put on other people and why certain people pushed me away, and they had every right to push me away. And it's funny because I looked up like kind of what people define as a friendship, and they said a friendship combo is like affection, loyalty, love, respect, trust. And then I added humor because, like, hello.
Totally necessary. Super it really important. Is.
Because you could be honestly the most respectful, loyal person, and I'd be like, dude, you are boring as fuck at dinner. Like,
if you're not laughing at my jokes and I'm not laughing at anything you say, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here? So I agree with all that. And I think sometimes people can be some combination of that. They can be loyal, they can be loving, they can be affectionate, but there's no trust. So I realized with this one friendship pretty recently, or about a year ago, I was like, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to show up for me. I don't trust them to keep my secrets. I don't trust that they're gonna be there when I need them to be there. I started to realize that I was making a lot of excuses for this really core value in any friendship that just wasn't present. Like I said, I've been bullied.
It's funny, like, sorry to interrupt, but like, it's funny as you get older, because I think when you're younger and you make friends, you friends are almost about validating yourself. Like, if you have friends, then you're a desirable person to be around, and you need to know that about yourself, that you're not somebody who repels most people. Yeah. And like, you almost want friends just to show that you have worth. And then you do still have your close friends and the ones that actually mean something. But a lot of friendships, I feel like when you're coming up, like, you want to make them work, because if they don't work, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the friends I've made in my 30s are because like I had an instant connection with them. Like, I made friends with you in my 20s and we had an instant connection. But like my friend Kat, she was sort of auditioning, casting me to be in her web series. And like, as soon as we met, we hung out, we talked for a bit, and then she was going to Trader Joe's to get some stuff for a shoot later. And I was like, can I come? She was like, yeah. And like, we're just instant friends. And we've been like, she's one of my closest friends now. And then you have other friends that you constantly, like, you feel a bit off, but you learn to recognize that quicker. And you're just like, I don't know, this person makes me feel bad about myself, or I don't trust this person, or they seem to need a lot from me. But when you give, it doesn't really affect them. Like, if you ever had a friend who constantly needs advice and you give the advice, but they're in the same position, it's almost like they just want to be the victim.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but you're draining my energy. And then you kind of realize sooner that somebody isn't adding anything in your life, and you don't actually need to like maintain that friendship.
I think that's such a valid point, that when you're younger, it's such different priorities, because like, I think you can have friends when you're younger and you don't even realize that you feel alone, because you're always hanging out and playing and you're at sleepovers and whatever. But more and more, I'm so sensitive to the emptiness that some people bring, where
what
it's
do you mean?
Like, we are very aware that we can feel alone in a packed room. I think everybody kind of understands that feeling. You're at a party, but you feel just disconnected. Even if you're talking to people, you don't feel like you're being engaged, or it's just not interesting, or it's surface, or everybody's drunk and you're not, whatever it is. We all have had that experience of being alone with people. But when it comes to like a single friendship, going out to dinner, calling them up on the phone, whatever it is that you do to connect with somebody else, when it just feels empty, when it feels like work for you, or when it feels like work for them, or when it feels like you have to compromise who you are to make it work. I mean, a lot of the things they say about a toxic romantic relationship is very true for a friendship, where I feel like either I'm not showing up in a way that makes me feel excited to be around that person, or they're not showing up because they don't know how to show up for me. Because I agree with like some people you just click with. I've had people where I didn't click with them, and then we've just somehow built a friendship over time because they've built up trust, because they've built up loyalty, because we've built up respect. I see that a lot more in my work relationships where I'll meet them, I feel nothing, or I'm a little bit ticked off. I'm like, the arrogance. And then I get to know them and I was like, this cocky dick is fun. Like,
yeah, that happens in group situations too, because we have like a board game night we do here. At its core, it's like I love all the four people that I do know, and then they invite people, and then and then those friends invite their friends. Group gets a little bit bigger. You meet somebody you might not like really jive at first, but you see them week after week after week, and then you just build that friendship, and that's really cool. And then there's some people who you just clash, and you're just like, I hate this person. But how do we get them out of the group?
Here's
but like
actually, oh, sorry, finish your
and
thing.
just to say, like the board game nights are weirdly a fulfilling thing. It's one of the things I love about London is that group of people who meet. We used to meet every Sunday, play board games, drink all night, eat Sunday roasts at this pub. It was a family-owned pub. It would be 6 to 8 people playing board games, eating, drinking, having a great time, and that meant the world to me.
Yeah, I love that stuff. And it's also, those are a great example of fun friends. Like, they probably aren't going to help you move, but you look forward to seeing them every Sunday, and in the boundaries of what your friendship is, it's perfect. What's weird about it is if you would try to shift them either way, it might cause chaos. Like if you dump something that was going on in your life that was just too personal, they might pull away.
Yeah, but we play get to know you games, and like we made each other cry. It's just because we'll ask like, when was the last time you cried? And somebody would be like, today. It's like, we're a fun group. But like, and then these are the groups that you're inviting to birthday parties, and I miss that. I mean, it's one of the things lockdown, like that got heard a lot, that, and I started a show on Sundays, but I didn't realize what I was doing when I started that show on Sundays, that I was killing this thing that I didn't realize how much it meant to me, like being able to like meet up with these people and play board games every week, and just it's like the fulfilling thing is the thing I keep coming back to. It felt very fulfilling.
But that's also like a little bit of a family. I mean, that's one of the things I kind of wrote down is like, I have put friendship above family. I mean, my family is important to me, but I think I've worked really, really, really hard to be a good friend and to collect other good friends, and I rely on them like a family. And I think because we have very non-traditional lifestyles and non-traditional ways of going about who we are, it's been even more important to reach outside of the family dynamic because, we didn't get married at 25, and we're not sitting around making children and conversing with a defined group of people every week the same way like somebody would if their kid went to the same school or you lived in a certain neighborhood. And then on a family dynamic, I have a different relationship with my family than most people do. I know people that their family is just where they lived until they were 18. And then I have people where they're like, my mom is my best friend. She's my best friend, and I will be lost when she dies. And I'm like, good luck to you. Like, that is a lot of pressure on your mom. So like I have, I'm close, especially with a lot of my siblings, and they're important to me, and my parents are important to me. But I feel like my family dynamic is not a little less. It's just, I had to rely on my friends so much because my family dynamic was so toxic as a kid that I've made having a group of friends and having reliable friends literally the most important thing in my life.
And I think that is really important, which is why like the marriage thing, it gets confusing. It's like, if you get married, are you supposed to break off from these people and then go start a family, and that's supposed to be your core group? I mean, I don't know what I'm saying here. I think that's the most
toxic thing you could do, though. I think so. Some of the stuff that I've read is one of the biggest problems with marriage in general is this belief that your partner needs to be your everything.
Right.
They have to be your confidant. They have to be your cheerleader. They have to be, the shoulder you cry on. It's just too much on one person. And I would say the same thing with a best friend. I think it's important to have a best friend. Hi. But I think it's actually important that you do have Kat, and I have Prakash, and I have my friend Amanda, because the truth of the matter is like my roommate Chris is one of my closest friends, and we talk about books and science and this like heady stuff and psychology and therapy, and like we just get in these deep, deep, deep conversations that I don't actually have with a lot of people. And that's important. And there's certain things that I don't know if I really come to him for. And then, you're the person I call up and I'm just hysterically crying and you're like, tell me what's going on. And like I said earlier, I don't know if I would do that with Prakash. So there's this diversity in friendships and the close people you keep by that becomes its own community. And when you put all that pressure on your wife and all that pressure on your husband, it's oh, I don't even know what that alarm is. I can't even tell you. I'm sorry.
I don't think we can have an episode without your alarm going off.
One of my alarms going off. I really am my own cliche. I looked at it and I was like, you're an idiot. In general, the reason I have a strong bonding friendship with a lot of people is that I kind of, like I said, know each other's roles. And what happens is people get married, people have kids, and everything is like, you have to fix this problem. You are the person that does everything. And it's too much. The same way that if you love snowboarding and I don't love snowboarding, are you going to pressure me all the time to snowboard? You're probably going to find other people that snowboard. And it's not a big deal that one of these important people in your life doesn't snowboard. It feels like instead of making this person, I always hated that, like, he's my other half, she's my other half. It's like, no, you're a full person.
Yeah.
And they lift you to a new level. Hopefully they inspire you and they support you and they help you be an even better version than you were capable on your own. And I think the same thing can be said with your entire community, so that your husband, wife kind of takes you up a notch and your best friend takes you up a notch. And these people that you have game night inspire you in a way that other people don't inspire you. And it just all hopefully is, stars and sunshine with all the different people you meet. But I think when you put too much pressure on one person, it's putting too much weight in a boat that has capacity. They're like, hey, we can only support 300 pounds. And you're like, yeah, but I'm going to put all these rocks in because I need these rocks. And you're like, we're going to sink. It's too much.
I was going to say the same with the relationships. That's why it's like, do you remember when we were supposed to go to Paris and then you were like, I might be going with Justin. And I was like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because Johnny doesn't like to travel the way I like to travel. He doesn't want to go to Paris ever.
Yeah.
So you were kind of like my friend to go to Paris with. And when you were like, I might go with Justin, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Totally. Like,
but I tried to make it work. I mean, he ended up not going and we went together and we had our own romantic friendship Paris excursion. But what did I say? I was like, if he comes, we'll figure it out. Like, it was never he's coming, fuck off, because I would never do that to you. It was, okay, if he comes, it might complicate the living quarters, but we'll figure it out. I've always been resentful of people that get in a relationship and drop you, and then the relationship ends and they're like, hi, sorry, you haven't seen me for 2 years. You're like, no, I lived my life 2 years without you. Like, you've decided that this person was going to be your everything, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. You can't.
I will say that I think that sort of thing comes from a place of anxiety and not because they don't find value in their friends anymore. It's just like just having this anxious attachment, which, have we talked about that yet on the podcast? Like the anxious attachment versus...
We did talk about it in the attachment style episode.
Yeah, I think there's a certain like mindset of like, if I don't make myself fully available and I'm not always there and then we're always hanging out, then it's over.
No, that's a valid point, but I get that people do pull back because now you have this new best friend, but it is a little bit like, hey man, I'm not just a person you swing in and out of when it's convenient for you. Like, we're always going to be either dating somebody or having an important job or opportunities, blah, blah, blah. I've had people that are only there for me when I'm sad. And I'm like, that's nice. I appreciate it. But I want to be able to celebrate with you. I want to be able to have a normal day with you. Like, I don't want to have to be crying for you to show up. It's actually kind of weird. And I think that kind of comes from being attracted to kind of broken people and vice versa. But like, I noticed it in a friendship that I don't have anymore, but I was just like, I don't want you to only be there when I'm sad. That's so weird to me. I want you to be there when I just have a normal day, or let's just go get dinner, or I don't know. But all that is to say is you're my bestie and I'm grateful for you. Because I think our biggest compliment that we've gotten is that people are like, oh, I really love their banter and they clearly have such a great friendship. And I'm like, we do.
Yeah, we do. And then like just being friends for 15 years obviously adds to that dynamic. But
I don't know if I've ever said this to your face. I use our friendship as a reason that I think I could get married. Because I've always been anti-marriage, but we've had so many ups and downs and we've worked through some really hard things. Especially when I was younger, I was like, oh, I think it's over. Or I think our friendship is on the rocks. And then we figured it out and we became even stronger. That I was like, is this what people are talking about when it comes to marriage? I think I get, 'cause I never wanted to see my life without you. And I still feel that way. But we've had some hard times. I know I've been insane. You met me at my insanest.
I've never once thought she's insane.
In general, I have a deep fear of abandonment and I'm always ready for somebody to kind of throw things in. And so I think I always preemptively throw in the rag from that fear, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, this friendship has probably been one of the most influential friendships of my life.
I would say the same. like 100% not even going to downplay it with a joke. Like really important friendships. Just really been a learning experience and how to not make it work, but like to realize you can come out through things stronger and have like a deeper bond with somebody the more you go along. So I'm glad that we are still friends.
Yeah. And now we have a podcast. I hope this doesn't ruin it.
No, I know. There's always that.
It's always like when you start working with your friend and you're like, shit.
I know, but I think we're pretty honest enough with each other that it's like, hey, bitch, pull your weight. You're like, oh, right, sorry.
Sorry. No, you're right. No, we've both learned so much with communication that that was like almost what I went in saying is like, we just have to be really good about communicating and don't let anything, just like what they actually say in a real marriage is don't go to bed angry. I feel like it's a little hard because you're in London and you're always going to bed early, but it is a little bit like, don't let things fester.
Yeah.
Let's just say it. Half the time we've really learned that nobody intended to hurt anybody's feelings. And also you build up a trust, like we've kind of talked before, that like you have never done anything intentionally to hurt me. So when I am hurt, my thought isn't this is intentional. It's always like, I need to let her know that she unintentionally did this. And I would like her not to continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've done the same with you. I'm just like, hey, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And you're like, sorry, didn't mean it.
Me and Pasta did not mean to hurt your feelings ever.
Leave Pasta out of this.
She's kind of a bitch. Okay, so I would love for you guys to write to us. I'm trying to think, like, what have you learned? Like, what is important to you in a friendship? Like, what is this make or break? What is your longest friendship and why? Like, what is the quintessential thing that they've done for you that it's like, it's lifelong? If you struggle with making friends, what do you think is the struggle? What do you think is the reason that, because I think I had a really, really hard time making friends until I was like probably a teenager. And even then it took me a long time to really show up and be a good friend. Even now, like they always say making friends as an adult is harder, but I actually think it's gotten weirdly easier for me because I understand it more. Write to us at twonondoctors@gmail.com. That's two non full word doctors@gmail.com.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye guys.